Yo, what's going on? It's that Goblin Guy XY, and today we are going to be looking at the unfortunate incident that happened in Ohio with the train derailment and subsequent burning of toxic chemicals and the response or lack thereof by the government, the media, and the powers that be. Before I get going, I want to give three shout outs here. Number one, I'm jumping right over to the Woke Society's thread on Twitter, which was probably some of the best coverage about this. This happened back on February 3rd. It's now February 14th, and the story is ongoing. I'm sure there's been other people, but I personally watched Jeremy from The Quartering and Joker from Better Bachelor. Both of those guys did pretty in-depth discussions on this issue, so I want to shout them out because they basically went to the same thread I'm going to go through. Maybe I have some other insights. We'll see. But anyway, so we start off here. Like I said, the train derailed on February 3rd in Ohio. I think the town was called East Palestine. You can see the picture here this is the fire. They don't know whether it was intentionally set or there's some rumors that it just kind of started on its own because of the way the chemicals interact with the atmosphere when they spill out. February 3rd, a train owned by Norfolk Southern Freight derails in East Palestine, Ohio, carrying toxic chemicals, gallons of vinyl chloride, spilling into the groundwater, and obviously the air. First thing we need to dissect is how the train derailed, who owns the freight line, and the regulations. The Biden administration was in a quiet war with the train unions last fall, and I do remember that. Basically, the unions, in a nutshell, were complaining that their long working hours, they get time off, but it's almost impossible to schedule it. And I think they only get one medical day. And because of the way the scheduling is, it's impossible to get doctor's appointments and things like that. It's just like crazy bad work environments. And I don't know. I thought that the Democrats were supposed to be like all for the unions, but they seem to have like basically stomped them out and passed some legislation apparently that, they basically rammed a contract down their throats that they didn't want. And, the working conditions are still bad. And I think that's part of the reason why the government is not wanting to acknowledge this situation or deal with it in any way, because we're right on the heels of the government forcing a bad contract, bad working conditions down the railway union's throat. And, it doesn't look too good when you're supposed to be like the pro-union party and you basically, tell the railway union to stick it. So, anyway, as it says here, not enough workers, pays bad, lack of number of workers causing current workers to work long hours, putting safety on the back burner. In the last 10 years, the Class 1 carriers have dramatically increased both the length and tonnage of the average train, while cutting back on maintenance and inspection. So this causes a ticking time bomb. And I heard somewhere else, and I don't know if it's in this thread or not, that they're only, like, for train For individual car inspections, they're only given like 90 seconds per train. That seems ridiculous, but yeah. So the name the rail workers gave to this system of running trains is called scheduled railroading. Increasing profits for owners, less inspections, less regulations. According to More Perfect US, they've cut 22% of the jobs since 2017. Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. The average it's not 90 seconds, it's 180 seconds, 3 minutes per car. Oh wait, I'm wrong. Wait, I'm let me backtrack that again. It used to be 3 minutes. They cut it to 90 seconds. So I was right. Norfolk Southern, that's the railway involved, owned by Wall Street billionaires. We'll get to that later in the thread. Fourth quarter operating revenue up 3.2 billion, up 13%, et cetera. Because I won't bore you with the stats on that. They make a lot of money. Documents show that when the current transportation safety rules were first created, a federal agency sided with industry lobbyists and limited regulations governing the transportation of hazardous compounds. The decision effectively exempted many trains hauling dangerous materials. They originally said that there was 5 trains involved with the toxic chemicals. Now, reports today are saying 10. Also, this is my own interjection. Where are the environmentalists? Where are the screeching, screaming, cawing environmentalists? I don't hear them. I don't see them. Um, do they only get loud when they're trying to tell other people how they should live their lives? Like this environmental disaster, they're not out in full force. Where's the blue hairs? Where's Antifa? I don't get it. This isn't important. Oh wait, no, they can't cram some kind of agenda down the public's craw, telling them they can't have gas stoves or some other kind of nonsense. So I guess it's not really that important for them. Here's another picture uh, from the high hazard classification and its more stringent safety requirements amid the lobbying buzz. Transportation safety regulations. Norfolk Southern paid execs millions and billions in stock buyouts. Imagine that. They go on to talk about a derailment that happened in New Jersey where 20,000 gallons of toxic chemicals spilled. Um, this one they're saying is 5 to 10 times that amount. Not the first time this happened in Ohio. That's the one I was just talking about previously. The sick part about all of this is that when these hedge funds and stock market creeps game plan for their profits and paybacks to the people who may have life-altering health complications, it's factored into the payout. Profit is greater than human life. Majority of the chemicals were burned. Some of them were also buried. The sketchy part, they fixed railroad. Oh, the fixed railroad was built over top the buried spillage. Why so quickly? So here they're talking about the chemicals. The major one was vinyl chloride. When you burn vinyl chloride, it turns into hydrochloric acid, formaldehyde, and carbon dioxide when it goes into the air. Vinyl chloride in the air breaks down in a few days, resulting in the formation of several other chemicals, including hydrochloric acid, formaldehyde, and carbon dioxide. This wasn't the only chemical that was spilled, though. The EPA was not forthcoming to the public and later admitted there were more chemicals. So, like I said, I'm not sure whether it started by itself or if they're saying that they burned it intentionally to get rid of it as quickly as possible. But whatever the case is, a side effect from burning these chemicals is what's known as diotoxins. They can merge with fatty tissues and stay in cell membranes forever. That'll cause cancer. This is what's been floating around in Ohio's waterways for over a week now. I believe it also immediately upon hitting the atmosphere binds to any water vapor, and there's like a gigantic cloud. I think that's blowing eastward, and I don't know if it's true. I heard it was 200 miles wide. That I'm not 100% sure on. But it would make sense because that stuff burned for a couple days, and there was you could see it from the air. There's airplane shots of it. It's pretty nasty. So 6 days after the spill, originally residents were evacuated, but then they were told to come back, and they said that air and water tests were fine. I kind of find that hard to believe. There's some videos of what's in the water. Now, I will say you have to take some of these things with a grain of salt. I mean, I live near some waterways. You do get some like oily residue in the waterways sometimes. So, like, I'm not saying that, you know, that what was in the picture is definitely caused by that. This is just, different people posting. I guess we'll find out over time. People are saying that their pets are dying. This guy had a licensed fox farm, and he claims that his foxes, uh, I think one or more died, and the others are like extremely ill. People's chickens. There's videos of crows like flying into the cloud and then just like dropping dead. Birds are very susceptible to any type of fumes in the air. There's some more posts about the foxes. People are claiming they're getting sick with respiratory infections. I believe they already sent the kids back to school and everything, and in like directly in the town where this happened. They're talking about Pete Buttigieg here. Says this is what you get for equity, inclusion, hiring mandates, not hiring qualified and experienced employees. I guess Buttigieg was, while this was going on, he was more concerned about claiming that construction workers, not construction workers themselves, but the construction industry is racist because they don't hire enough black people, apparently. I live in Ohio. Stop lying, that picture is 4 days old. It's been contained. He's saying that it's a lie that it's been contained. And there's some memes here. We'll probably just skip through a lot of those. Oh, this person brought up a good point, though. There's a lot of farmlands. I think there's a map coming up where it shows, because it's not just that the gas is traveling east. It's the fact that it's going to get into the waterways and travel south and west too, because of the way the waterways work in that area. It'll hit the Ohio River and drain into the Mississippi. Lots of farmland will be affected. This person's saying so much. This person says she lives right there. Worse than the media's telling us. Dead fish and birds everywhere. Chemicals in the water. You'll see the worst health side effects. That there will be a lot of bad side effects from this over the years. We're probably just scratching the surface, obviously. Almost 1 million pounds of this stuff released into the atmosphere. This person's basically saying that if this was a blue state, that the reaction would be a lot better by the government. They don't seem to care. I think it's more that they just don't want to have a major rail disaster all splashed all over the media. on the heels of squashing the railroad, the safety issues that were brought up by the rail workers. This shows the waterway, and this is where they're saying all these waterways could be affected, and that's a lot of farming area throughout the Midwest. Yeah, it is kind of curious that they don't seem that concerned about what happens in the Midwest in a Democrat administration. Imagine that. And then I don't know if it shows on this thread, but I saw another map where like basically the cloud goes like that's is like this way. The cloud like it's right to the edge of eastern Pennsylvania, supposedly. Let's see if there's anything more I could say about this. Um, if you get a chance, and you can go on this woke society's thread. About 2/3 of the way down, there's this video right here, which I'm not going to play it, but it explains really. This guy explains really well the chemical properties and why it's so dangerous and what they're covering up basically. There's people saying that there's like a lot of train derailments that they haven't been talking about. The thing I do have to say about that is I believe there's several train derailments every day in the United States. Most of them end up being minor. Um, the major ones generally do hit the news, which is why like it's so strange that this one wasn't. They said nothing about because I mean, obviously this is pretty major. Um, but there are like people are freaking out because they're saying, "Oh, there's a train derailment here. There's a train derailment there." I mean that actually does happen because there's so many trains across the whole United States. Um, so I'm not I'm not getting into the conspiracy theory on that there's somebody has the chemicals that are listed, but we talked about the major problems, but there are others. I think this was a couple of days afterwards when the fire first started. Excuse me. When the fire first started, it was a clear day, and that's where you got those sharp images of the smoke. But then it became like overcast, and then you could see like as the cloud cover came in, how like this stuff was getting trapped, basically, which is pretty. I would imagine is pretty bad. And like I said, it reacts with water vapor, so that stuff getting up into the clouds and into the atmosphere and stratosphere is like pretty bad. There's one of the shots from I think that was like the first or second day that they were burning. Some more shots. Yeah, you can see one, the cloud cover came in and it got bottled up. Oh, here's a list of the owners of Norfolk Southern Corp: Vanguard, J.P. Morgan, BlackRock, and a bunch of other capital. Wells Fargo jumps out at you there. Oh boy, yeah. So that's about all I have to say about this. There's the American Chernobyl. Um, you know, diversity hires, whatever. This guy says we basically nuked a town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open. But I mean, I guess let's go Brandon, and let's go Brandon's voters. But that's all I have to say about this one. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.